Manifesto, number 37, run the country like a business, not an empire. How's that? I'll be right back. You get a copy, by the way, of Countdown to Mecca. Stay on the line.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN.
We owe China $1.3 trillion. We owe Japan more than that. So they come in, they take our jobs, they take our money, and then they loan us back the money, and we pay them in interest. And then the dollar goes up, so their deal's even better. How stupid are our leaders? How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Man, I wish to God he does run. He'd win by a landslide, incidentally. All of the tow dust on television would be blown away in the wind. They're just tow dust in the wind. I love them mocking him, these little men on television. They work out in a gym, and they have a suit, and they get on MSNBC. They look like tow dust with eyeglasses. They're sitting there mocking this guy. This guy could save the country. And the tow dust could go fly off in the wind like a butterfly. Unbelievable to me. I hope he runs. I called his assistant today. We know each other. She said he's so booked up, we'll try to get Donald on your show. I mean, he'll be on other shows before mine. He'll do TV first. I get it. I know how this works. But it doesn't matter when he gets to me, because when he does, I'm going to ask him a few questions as a friend, not as a gotcha guy. I will ask Donald Trump questions as a friend who wants him to run, who wants him to win, who wants him to beat Hillary, and send her back to the Clinton Library as a librarian where she belongs. That's all she's fit for, is to be a gatekeeper at the Clinton Library. She ought to turn the turnstile and make sure the tickets are paid for on the way in, and make sure no one's stealing anything on the way out, like the purple dress. That's about all she's made for. This guy's out there. He's speaking. Then we got the meddlesome Pope lying about global warming. He knows nothing about science, and he's mixing science with religion, which is a violation of church and state. How can you Catholics put up with him? And then we have the race scandal. How can a black put up with this without demanding a federal investigation of this character in Spokane? How? Big topics. Savage Nation. Be here.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
We have people that aren't working. We have people that have no incentive to work. But they're going to have incentive to work, because the greatest social program is a job. And they'll be proud, and they'll love it, and they'll make much more money than they would have ever made. And they'll be doing so well, and we're going to be thriving as a country. Thriving. It can happen. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. I'll bring back our jobs from China, from Mexico, from Japan, from so many places. I'll bring back our jobs, and I'll bring back our money.
Go, Donald, go. Boy, what a change that would be after the presidency that we have now. You wouldn't even call him a president. Remember he lost the trade deal last week, and he disappeared? Remember we were told that today, Tuesday, they would vote on it again? Remember we were told that on Friday? Raise your hands if you remember that Obama said, I'll be back. Remember? Boehner said, I'll be back. We're going to vote again on Tuesday. We're going to get that trade bill over the line. Where is Obama? Well, he played golf this weekend. He had a private concert in the White House with Prince. 500 guests undisclosed. He wouldn't disclose who they were. A big blowout. Concert at the White House featuring Prince. Guest list not provided. Very much like the Romanovs before the fall of Russia. Obama's sort of like the Romanovs before the fall of Russia, by the way. An imperial president, private parties with people he doesn't even disclose. We know one guest on the list was the dirtbag Al Sharpton. You have no idea what this man has done to this country. But let's stay away from that for a minute. What a change it will be if we have Donald Trump in the presidency instead of this Barack Obama, who won't even come back and fight for what he wants because he's too lazy. Where is he? Why isn't he voting today? Why isn't he Democrat arm twisting anymore? What, he's hung over from too much Chardonnay? Where is he? Where is Obama? They promised us another vote today. Where are they? And where's that drunk Boehner today? 855-400-7282 is the phone number. We have more Donald Trump. Let's play the next one in line on the Savage Nation.
Because I'm totally against the trade bill for a number of reasons. Number one, the people negotiating it don't have a clue. Our president doesn't have a clue. He's a bad negotiator. He's the one that did Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 killer terrorists that everybody wanted over there. We get Bergdahl. We get a traitor. We get a no-good traitor. And they get the 5 people that they wanted for years. And those people are now back on the battlefield trying to kill us. That's the negotiator we have. Take a look at the deal he's making with Iran. He makes that deal, Israel maybe won't exist very long. It's a disaster, and we have to protect Israel.
This guy is so clear speaking. No wonder the toe dust are mocking him on television. No wonder the little overpaid toe dust and skirts are mocking Donald Trump, because they're listening to reality when they're nothing but toe dust in the wind. Yep, already they're writing the hit pieces. They're mocking him because they know he's serious. They see what a real man is, as opposed to the fakers out there, the liars, the soundbiters. No, the morons, idiots, losers, and dummies out there hate him, but the real people like him. He's being attacked, incidentally. Oh, yeah. You know who's attacking him? We have a list. You know who's attacking him? NBC host Chuck Dodge. Chuck Dodge. A fraud through and through. A man who grew a beard to look like he's intelligent. Grew a beard to look smart. Former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, who destroyed the military. Chuck Hagel should be held up on war crimes charges for what he did to the U.S. military. He doesn't like Donald Trump. You hear this? You want to read? George Will, a real reliable source. George Will. How relevant is George Will? Irrelevant. Conservative columnist Charles Sauerkrauthammer. He doesn't like him. Conservative blogger Michelle Malkin. How relevant is she? When have you last heard her or paid any attention to her? Republican strategist, frontman Karl Rove doesn't like him. Fake Republican pollster Frank Luntz. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. Of course he doesn't like Donald. Donald's 10 times the man. Look who else doesn't like Donald. Cher. Wow. What an endorsement that is. She's a heavyweight. National Review writer Jonah Goldberg. Another reliable source who no one reads. Look who these people are. British Prime Minister David Cameron doesn't like Donald Trump. You hear? David Cameron, who ran as a fake conservative Tory. Oh, look who else is attacking Donald Trump. Former NBC News faker Brian Williams. What a distinguished group of losers, dubbies, morons, idiots. Yeah, what a list. Go, Donald, go. Go, Donald, go. 855-400-7282. Do we have the one where he talks about ISIS and calls them like it is? Do we have that?
So now ISIS has the oil. And what they don't have, Iran has. Years ago, I said, and I love the military, and I want to have the strongest military that we've ever had, and we need it more now than ever. But I said, don't hit Iraq, because you're going to totally destabilize the Middle East. Iran is going to take over the Middle East. Iran and somebody else will get the oil. And it turned out that Iran is now taking over Iraq. Think of it. Iran is taking over Iraq.
Now, that came out of my book. It did. I know it did, because I published it before he said it the first time. It came out of my book, Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, published in 2006. And I've known Donald off and on since then. I once a year run into him. I don't mean we talk. I'm not in his kitchen cabinet. I'm not on his salad buffet. But, you know, I write the ideas. It's like Billy Joel, I write the songs. I write the ideas. I broadcast daily. I'm on the biggest station in New York City, WABC. I'm on in drive time. I'm in the catbird seat of Manhattan. Do you understand that? Do you get it? What do you think? I'm just heard on a set of tin cans and a string, 2 Dixie cups and a string? Don't underestimate who listens to me. Everybody in this country with a brain knows Michael Savage. Everybody. I'm perhaps the most original thinker in the history of talk radio. So many of these ideas are wonderful ideas. I believe in them. And I only pray to God that he runs and he wins. That's my only prayer. Because this guy can really take no prisoners. He will have the toe dust scurrying in the wind. All the little empty skirts, all the little empty suits will be fleeing and running for the hills because he'll tear them to ribbons. They're the people who've destroyed the country, the toe dust on television. Now, that's topic 1. The meddlesome Pope is number 2. The race scandal is number 3. And we've got to get to the race scandal because I don't know how any African American, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, cannot be sickened by what this woman did. Listen to clip number 8 of the fake black woman, Dolezal. Listen.
You've started a discussion on race and what it means in this country. Did this come as a surprise to you, or did you always expect the lid would be blown off your story at some point?
The timing of it was a shock. I mean, wow. The timing was completely unexpected.
I mean, wow.
As to the second question, I did feel that at some point I would need to address the complexity of my identity.
What do you mean the complexity of your identity? You're a white woman. There's no complexity. You're a faker. You ought to be arrested for what you did. It's an insult to this nation, doing this in an incendiary time like this when we have a race baiter in the White House. Listen to the next one. Wait till you hear how she lies here.
Are you an African-American woman?
I identify as black.
You identify as black. Let me put a picture up of you in your early 20s, though. And when you see this picture, is this an African-American woman, or is that a Caucasian woman?
That's not in my early 20s, but...
That's a little younger, I guess?
Yeah.
Everything's a joke to these liberals.
Is she a Caucasian woman or an African-American woman?
I would say that visibly she would be identified as white by people who see her.
But at the time, were you identifying yourself as African-American?
In that picture, during that time, no.
Do you hear the snotty laughter, the college girl snot nose of the type that works for Obama? Everything is a damn joke to them. They get away with murder. They've bulldozed everyone with their lies. This one used bronzette coloring on her skin. How could an African American listening to this program, whether you generally agree with my politics or hate me, how can you not agree with me on this, that this woman ought to be arrested at a time like this for faking her race? How in the world can you not agree with me? Matt Lauer, to his credit, by the way, asked her hard questions. Listen to 10.
Your parents were asked this question this week, and they didn't have any trouble answering it. Here's what they said. She's clearly our birth daughter, and we're clearly Caucasian. That's just a fact. Your father went on to say she's a very talented woman doing work she believes in. Why can't she do that as a Caucasian woman, which is what she is? How do you answer that question?
Well, first of all, I really don't see why they're in such a rush to whitewash some of the work that I have done and who I am and how I've identified. And this goes back to a very early age with my self-identification with the black experience as a very young child.
That's not the question. You lied. You faked your race. You violated federal law. You took the position that a black woman could have had, number 2. Number 3, you're an embarrassment to the human race to use race to your advantage. What are you talking about? You don't think she used this to get ahead for herself? You think she believes a word she says? This woman has bulldozed everyone her whole life with her crap, her malarkey, her garbage. I know the type. I know the type. I've seen them my whole life. So don't lie to me about it. She's used race as a weapon at a very dangerous time. And it's only for self-aggrandizement. And I believe the FBI has an obligation to this nation to investigate whether she violated any federal laws by lying about her race on an application. Let me ask you something. You're a white person. You apply for a scholarship, and under race you check black. And you win a scholarship, and then they find out that you're white and they disqualify you. What do? Sue the university? Tell me, what would happen to you if you lied about your race on a scholarship? You're a white male. You apply for a scholarship that is reserved only for, I don't know, people of color, I guess. White males need not apply in the new racial America under Obama, where race is key. What would they do to you if they found out you were really Caucasian? Well, you'd be disqualified, and you'd probably be sued. You might even be arrested by a state or federal governmental official for what you have done, by the way. And incidentally, speaking of scholarships, as you know, I promised to give away $100,000 to 5